Hey guys, it's Luke, quickly bringing you guys my top three value plays for tonight's NBA slate here on May 4th. So, getting right into them, at number three, we're going to have Bismack Biyombo, who's a center for the Charlotte Hornets, coming in at the dead minimum price on DraftKings of $3,000. He's purely going to be a boom bust play tonight. Biyombo isn't somebody who sees a consistent minutes load from night to night, but he definitely has games where he pays off the price tag. In the last five games, we've seen him go for 8x value twice, and on the season, if we take a look at his season as a whole, he scores at an 8x value, so over 24, 25 fantasy points, 15% of the time. Now that's not consistent, it's not more than half or anything, but when he does that, he wins you the slate. So that's among the elite in the NBA in terms of boom percentage. So I like taking chances on these guys from time to time. Tonight, the Hornets do have, not an ideal matchup, but they do have a matchup that tends itself towards playing small. That's going to push PJ Washington to the center slot for more minutes than he's used to. He's going to see more propensity for fouls and whatnot. And if either PJ Washington, Cody Zeller, if either of them gets in foul trouble, those are the games where you see Biyombo have these monster performances and whatnot. So I have him projected for only 18 minutes, only 17-point projection, and at that alone, it would not be a good play for tonight. But he does have that 35 to 40 plus point ceiling. So high risk, high reward play, probably worth, if you're playing 150 lineups, putting him in 5 to 7 of them. Just a couple here and there, just in case he has that huge game. But that's why he comes in at number three. My number two pick for tonight is Maxi Kleber. This is a little bit more reliable of a pick. He's a power forward and a center for the Dallas Mavericks, coming in at $3,700. So last night out, he did see 29 minutes, and that's playing through the Achilles injury that he's had for about the past month. So the probable tag for me isn't really a problem at all. He played through it last night. He played well to boot, and the price tag is also favorable. It went down. He didn't have a huge game last game out, but it was consistent. He hit value. Just a lot of people weren't paid off with that, so his price tag did go down. And tonight's matchup against the Miami Heat is just like the Charlotte Hornets matchup tonight. The Miami Heat tend to play small from time to time. If can't say his name, Adebayo ends up being on the bench, getting into foul trouble or anything like that, they tend to just not play a center at all. They go with Kelly Olynyk at center. He's very small, and in those lineups, Dallas is very likely to match. Maxi Kleber can play the center role just like Olynyk, and in those lineups, you see very high-scoring games as well. Kleber has seen over 15 rebounds in 8 games this year, and ironically enough, those are the games when they played without a center. On the other side, you've seen Olynyk get over 15 rebounds just 5 times this year, and again, those have been when he started over Adebayo at center. So you're kind of hoping to get that narrative tonight where they're going to play small. Again, I think that's a very high probability of happening, given that both teams have shown that kind of front before. I also think that he's again moderate risk, moderate reward. I would say he's going to play about 28, 29 minutes tonight. He's not a huge fantasy point per minute producer or anything like that. So that's why I say there's some moderate risk involved. But he does have that moderate reward. From time to time, he does shoot well. He'll score 15, 20 points here and there. And when that happens, he is one of the better plays in the slate. So he has that shooting upside, as I say, and that's why he comes in at number 2. My number one value play for tonight is a great play, mostly because of the game environment that he sees himself in. It's Pat Connaughton, a small forward for the Milwaukee Bucks. He comes in at $3,300. But what's really great about the situation that he's in is that he's playing against the Brooklyn Nets. The Bucks-Nets is the marquee matchup of the night. It's the highest over-under by far. It has a 15 points higher over-under than the second place game. And Connaughton's a veteran who's priced really low, has been seeing 20 to 25 minutes in pretty much every game this year. A little bit lower than we're used to seeing with Connaughton, as last year he averaged right around 29 minutes. But the price tag has changed as well. He's priced in that $4,000 to $5,000 range last year. This year he's just above the minimum. He's also moved to the small forward position on DraftKings, which helps, obviously, because that's a very weak position. And in such a high-paced game, I do see Connaughton getting more peripherals than usual. Pat's floor is usually very high. He gets most of his fantasy points from rebounds. He gets a steal here and there that pad his stats, but he doesn't usually score very well. He does have games, though, kind of like Maxi Kleber, where he does get what I call that shooting ceiling game, where he goes out, he scores 15 to 20 actual points and ends up with a monster game just because he does most of his work elsewhere. And tonight against the Nets, if he is going to have that shooting upside, it's going to be against a team like the Nets that doesn't play defense. They routinely let up 140 to 150 points a night. They're the worst defense in NBA history as of right now. So I always like targeting them. I think he has a relatively high floor at about 16 fantasy points, which for almost a dead minimum player is just fine. I also think, so his median I have rated out 21 and a quarter fantasy points, which would be 7x value. Again, that's why he's the number one, I think, and most nights he's going to get the job done. But he does have that 26 to 30 point ceiling. And if that happens, you're definitely going to need to have him. So that's why he comes in at number one. Those are my top 3 plays for tonight. Let me know in the comments who you guys like his value, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.